you say we rank number 1 in Africa. So obviously rankings count, at least to that extent. But on the other hand, when I put it to you, when we're having a discussion, why can Australian university have 5 or 6 in the top 100? You gave me a whole long thing about, well, rankings aren't so accurate and they're biased and what have you. So you can't have it both ways. Why have we not got one university in this country, particularly us, which is not ranked in the top 50 in the world? I mean, isn't it disgraceful that Australia, of all places, should have 5 and we don't have 1? I mean, it really annoys me. And I go teach there, and it kind of frustrates me that they are very good.
Well, it's first and foremost, it's about money, okay? And out of the universities, the countries of the world, there are only 3 countries that are not OECD countries. There are no poor countries that have, no low-income countries that have any universities in the top 400. There are no lower middle-income countries in the top 400. And there are only 3 middle-income countries and 4 universities, 2 from China, 1 from Brazil, and 1 from South Africa. That's us, in the top 200 there. And that's because those rankings depend heavily on 2 things. On the research output, which in turn is about how much money is going in. And that money is often going in from research councils and from such as the National Institutes of Health, and Australia is generous with its research funding. And secondly, the rankings are linked to staff-student ratios. And universities that
we've had an explosion of students.
Had an explosion of students and not the funding to increase our student numbers, our staff numbers.
But surely we should be aiming. I mean, surely we should be aiming to say, because clearly if we were a top 50 university, I accept all the stuff about the rankings. You would accept that more people would probably want to come here. I mean, these rankings do influence all sorts of things.
Yeah,
and maybe it may be a perfume mentality, but it does do that.
And unfortunately, they matter a lot. When we advertise academic posts and we ask people from overseas, we get a lot of overseas applicants. Why they've applied, it's because of the rankings. We get nearly 1,000 overseas students here for a semester, just a semester study abroad students. They tell us they're coming here because of the rankings, and we do make money out of them. We do. These are not cross-subsidized. This is a source of income, so it benefits the university. But so rankings matter. Unfortunately, the world takes a lot of notice about it. What would we have to compromise to get there? I think we would have to compromise too much.
What?
I'll tell you. And so if that was the trade-off, I'm not sure that I would go for a top 50 ranking.
But what would we have to compromise?
Well, the rankings don't look at all, for example, at whether you bring in students who are from previously disadvantaged backgrounds, first-generation students. And so universities like us that have to spend perhaps 10% or 20% of their teaching budget on the fact that students spend an extra year or 2 out of a 3-year degree, and that's not money that we get, that's not teaching that we get paid to do. Mm-hmm. So we're spreading our teaching resources an extra 25% to do that. There's no brownie points in the ranking systems for that. Social engagement, the fact that we have everything from Shawco to engaged scholarship, the 4 initiatives you talked about, the crime and violence, poverty and inequality. These are initiatives which we do because we think the university is an important social player.
Yes, but those could be part of the centre of real considerable research, which has great relevance to the world in general and Africa in particular.
True, but for example, if you wanted to get your sightings up, which is how this works, you would publish in an international journal, and you would have to do work which was mainly of interest to an international community. If you do work about crime in Hanover Park, then you're going to be publishing different sorts of publications, different kinds of output. Well, the Children's Institute produces this phenomenal child gauge each year, a fantastic amount of research, statistics, guides policy, but scores no points in the citations or publication rankings because.
All right.
So I think it is a trade-off, and yeah, I think the effort that we need to put into teaching and into redress is a challenge for us.